Alrighty then, it's time for a Trundle game, and this is my favorite type of game. Wish check 1. Why? Because I love counterpicking someone hard. Wish 2. Whether or not you agree, I strongly believe Trundle is a huge counter to Shyvana, and since she's become very popular, I like either having a teammate with Trundle or myself as Trundle. I'll explain in a bit. I just have to highlight probably the most ridiculously violent Darius I've seen in a while. He's sitting here in this bush just waiting for Pantheon to push. So the second Pantheon commits to clearing minions, he just comes out and starts stabbing at him. And I don't even think Pantheon realized what was happening. He reacted very late. And slowly but surely, he destroys the Pantheon. Pure dodge, pure bleeds, and everything. Terribly slow flash. And he kills them. But you know, because Darius is just such the most violent motherfucker in the world, he pushes the lane. And as Pantheon is returning to it, Darius just knows no chill and charges at him and starts destroying him. He's like at almost less than half health. That's really fucked up. However, though, it also highlights some very big advantage I have right now. See, Pantheon died before he could do anything in lane, and he got really fucked up. And the minion wave was pushed against him. This means he doesn't have a ward here, so that means I can sit here and just wait for him to naturally walk in when he wants to put a ward and kill him again. He doesn't have a flash, of course, so this becomes just a very easy kill. Poor Pantheon's his dreams turn to ash in front of him. Anyways, the reason I say Trundle counters Shyvana is because almost all of his abilities in some way can destroy her or disrupt her. His Q bites off her AD, so if she's not building AD, she deals significantly less damage. And naturally, he's just a strong 1v1 duelist anyways. His ultimate will tear apart her resistances, and remember, but one of the quote-unquote ways to counter Trundle is to not have as many resistances. Well, Shyvana can't really avoid that, so she's just going to be giving him free stuff. W is not really a big factor, but the E is. Since Shyvana is a very immobile champion without her W, or even with the W, she just kind of moves naturally rather than blinking or making mad dashes or anything. A well-placed wall stops her completely. She's very easily prone to being pinned against a wall or having a pillar thrown in front of her face, so her movement is completely disrupted. I love the matchup of Trundle versus Shyvana. So if you like Trundle, or if you're looking for a huge counterpick to the flavor of the month Shyvana right now, I definitely pick him. I like, again, it's my personal opinion, but in my experience, it's always been in my favor. Especially if you know how to use his skills properly and not, force really uneven fights. You can beat her in a slugfest even if she has the advantage, but don't try to force them to happen all the time. Anyways, we go for the Zed, and unfortunately we forget that there's a Pantheon on the team, and I should have gone forward with just killing the Zed, because otherwise I was going to die regardless. So that was unfortunate for us. We gave 2 kills to them and we got nothing in return. Fortunately for us, the rest of the lanes are winning, and Darius is just making Pantheon's life hell, so much so that Pantheon is just kind of underfarmed and is just looking for opportunities elsewhere. It's really unfortunate because the enemy team is yelling and raging at each other, that we know of. Just Darius is doing these really daring pushes, proxy pushes, and Shyvana just shows up and is like, Darius really just doesn't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure the Shyvana just realized right then and there, like, oh my god, I just fucked up tremendously. Of course, Pantheon gets the revenge kill, but it's still worth it for Darius, because Darius is putting down their jungler, the one who's supposed to get farmed up, and also getting ahead. So pound for pound, Darius is, exceeding far more, and is allowing us to control the map. Anyways, Pantheon goes in with his ultimate down mid lane. He doesn't come anywhere close, and for some reason he decides to try to chase. So he easily gets pinned against the wall. We deal quite a bit of good damage to him, and we easily just sort of slowly beat him down. He gets murdered. Zed commits to us, but that allows us to do a shitload of damage because now we don't know he doesn't have any escapes, so we manhandle his ass too. Shyvana ports in, and for whatever reason, Jouster decides to E back in, although I think he probably trying to get last bits of CS before he probably died. Still, though, it was worth it. 2 for 1, definitely worth it in our favor. Although Shyvana having Devour and being there for a kill kind of helps her out quite a little bit. Still, though, again, I'm not that worried because we have Darius, the murder machine right now. There's no one on the enemy team who could probably 1v1 him. He has to basically be ganged up on. And that in itself is a huge advantage because it's going to distract the enemy team. As you can see, he just murdered Pantheon by the sheer sake of bleeding him out to death. And then Shyvana decides to fight him too. And she's very afraid of committing. She's just like, oh Zed, take the damage for me. And then Shyvana dies. Like, Yasuo doesn't manage to kill Zed, but still. I love that. It's like Shyvana realized, I can't fight this. Just, like, bleed. Just get away from me. I thought that was just too funny when I was watching this game. It's mostly, this game is really amusing just because of that shit. However, though, as you can see, Yasuo stayed for too long and got killed by the Pantheon, so a lot of the advantage we get early aren't really that fruitful. Anyways, I go down bottom. I have a feeling someone's down here, so I put on a ward and then just back away. And it reveals it to my team, so they decide to be less aggressive, and we back out. Easy peasy. One of my favorite things is Trundle is that he's very good at navigating the jungle. He's got a lot of tools to disengage and run away if shit goes bad, or trap his opponents and basically run circles around them. That's very rare for a lot of strong duelist junglers. A lot of duelist junglers don't have that kind of control, battlefield control, as Trundle does. So it just makes him super efficient, safe, and sneaky. And in that case, you get to control the map and just sort of outwit your opponents. Anyways, Yasuo commits to a fight against the Zed. Shyvana shows up, doesn't manage to kill him, and it just sort of farms mid. However, I know, especially since she just used her ultimate and wouldn't have the amplification of it, that I can kill her rather easily. Even though she's 2 levels ahead of me and she might have red smite. She gets the initiative blow on me, meaning she attacks me first, but in the slugfest, Shyvana just has no chance in hell. Remember, she had a level advantage against me. And technically, I mean, I have a pretty considerable tanky advantage to her, but still, that's pretty gross. Like, if we were on even grounds, I'd beat her ass to death even harder. It's just, that's Trundle's nature. You just destroy anybody in a 1v1 fight, and anyone who's relatively tanky just feeds you power. I love Trundle so much for that very reason. And it's kind of sad to see that him, who I would say is, even though he's really strong in this sort of meta, a situational champion got a little bit nerfed. Anyways, they commit to us, and they kind of don't do it excellently. I mean, is that even a word? No. They don't do it properly, so they just get bashed, and I think they kill Karma, but they only kill Pantheon in a return kill. But they're super damn weak, so they really can't defend this, and as a result, we're going to be able to get the mid tower. However, there's another situation here at play, and just, it's more Darius. Again, I love this. So Darius is casually pushing top lane. And once again, the Shyvana shows up and she backs away. She's like, oh god, I can't charge him. Wait, he uses Q. Maybe I can charge him now. She goes in and she loses quite a bit of a chunk of her health really quickly. And then gets hit by his ultimate and then bleeds to death. And then Janna just explodes. And then Graves got too close thinking, oh, I could probably help this fight. And he died too. So 3 people died to Darius because they're really underestimating him. And now he's massive. He's going to just run a train up their asses. It's just, it was one of the biggest highlights I've had for a while. Just a very super violent Darius who's just seemingly doing his own thing in his own little island. And everyone just constantly underestimates him. And I just want to imagine them thinking in their heads like, I don't want to do this, but if we don't, we're going to lose the game. The enemy team, of course, again, is very violent with each other. You're going to see the Pantheon. He's going to sell his items, and he's already saying, just push mid, we surrender. Although apparently the rest of the team didn't choose to surrender. I think he was just being a baby. We go push mid. Right now, Pantheon engages. He goes after the Karma, but of course I'm right there, along with Corki. Trap him in between the towers. You never, ever do that against a Trundle. And then I just tank the towers while we kill the rest of them. And with that, it's pretty much GG. They're gonna, Pantheon's gonna throw the biggest bitch fit, selling his items, as you can see right there, and just yelling at everybody in all chat, just basically crying to the world that he got super sodomized by Darius. It's just like, it should have been illegal to showcase that, but goddamn, Darius just fucked them up. Still though, again, I just reiterate that never ever go between the tower and the wall against Trundle. That's just asking to get trapped in there. It's so goddamn easy to die that way. Either way, as you can see, the enemy team is just done for. They're dunzos. They can't do anything against Darius, and they're pretty much goddamn afraid of him, and they already lost one of their teammates out of a bitch fit. Plus, we just got Baron, which they had absolutely no power to actually stop, so yeah. It's like, look, all that focus against him, and they can't do jack dick on him. Zed goes in full on, but not a considerable amount of damage is dealt to him. a good amount, but not enough for them to be able to fully commit on it without dying. Of course, Graves is getting a little too cheeky without any mana, so I realize the second my wall comes back up, I can easily pile drive him against the wall. Corgi comes in, and we just pick off the Janna, and then we pick off the Graves, and with that, the game is basically done. For Dunzos now, for Realzos. As you can see, Darius is just going in between the Nexus and the tower, just making sure he gets the last bits of kill. It's like, look at that ridiculous amount of damage he's dealing against the enemy. It's so fucking gorgeous, it's so beautiful. Anyways, this was a funny ass fucking game to watch just because of the uberly aggressive Darius in top lane. So thanks for him and hooray for Trundle.